Mm-hmm. Wait, we have to restart. We have to restart.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to the movie Battleground. I am your host today, Robert Parker, and we have an awesome match coming up for you today. Two great competitors. This is going to be a really fun exhibition match. It's actually a blind fight, so the competitors may or may not be physically blind, but they do not know the questions and had no time to prepare, so they are going to have to think of their answers on the spot. Remember, the whole reason we are here this weekend is We Are the World for Kirk, Daisy, and all of the other dogs. Please donate if you can, as much as you can. Any little bit helps. That CrowdRise link is in the description of this video, so that goes to Red Rovers, the organization which helps dogs in need. So please donate if you haven't already. Now, let's just hop in and introduce our competitors very quickly. First, Madeeh Rehman. Madeeh, how you feeling about this match?
Feeling good. It's different being blind. I gotta tell you, it's a lot darker than I thought it would be. But this isn't any different from my other matches. I don't prepare too much, so this will be fun.
All right, Madeeh obviously very well prepared for this. And the other competitor, his opponent here today, Matt Beer. How you feeling, Matt?
I'm doing good. Of course, we're doing this for a good cause. We're doing it for all the doggos in the world, but I'm just here to win. That's plain and simple. And I also want to give you guys a really fun match to watch.
I can't believe you would
Absolutely.
try and beat a blind man. That's awful.
Absolutely.
I never said I was a good person.
This is for all of the doggos in the world, and this is an exhibition match, so it won't exactly impact standings, but it will still be an incredibly entertaining match for those of you watching live and those of you watching on the Worldwide Movie Games channel afterwards. So, with that being said, let's hop into it. For those of you watching along who don't know the rules of Movie Battleground, this is our debate show. So I will say a question. These two competitors do not know that question. They had no time to prepare. They will have to say their answer on the spot. They're going to have an opening argument section where each of them is going to get to introduce their opinion, introduce their movie, their pick, whatever it may be. Then there will be an open forum session for 5 minutes where the competitors will just yell at each other the entire time. And then there will be a closing argument section. After those three sections, I will make my ruling. I'm judging on facts, creativity, passion, and it is a debate show. So it's not just how good your option is, it's also about how well you are able to attack the other person's argument. So it's all about the way you debate, not just what your answer is. Everything clear for our two competitors? You guys both have done this before? Perfect. Let's hop right into it. We are going to start with Madeeh, just because you are first alphabetically. So Madeeh, you're going to go first in round one, and then we're going to hop on over to Matt. So Madeeh, you're going to have a couple minutes, a couple moments just to figure out what your answer is. But here's the question. What's the best stop-motion animated film? So there's tons to choose from.
All right.
You're going to have a couple moments to think about it, pick out your answer. Once you are ready, you can start with your opening argument. And then once your opening argument is finished, we'll go over to Matt and we'll see what his answer is.
Better pick a good one.
Man, you know what? For stop motion, I gotta go with Coraline. That movie was so intensely scary and good at the same time. I'll tell you this. Coraline is one of the few movies that had my brother in the middle of a packed theater with children have a scene and he goes, holy fucking shit, and like get scared the fuck out of. Now, that movie, I think, probably put what his name is, Leica Studios. I think that really put them on the map, man, and brought them out to a point where they've made so many good movies since then, like Box Trolls and like what was the one they just did 2 years ago with McConaughey and Charlize Theron? Two Strings, Kubo and the Two Strings. Those movies were so good, but they came off the heels of Coraline, which was just a phenomenal movie, and I think they've never done better, and they hopefully can do better with the next movie that they've got coming out. But Coraline was just a phenomenal movie for me, man.
All right, Madeeh going Coraline, a good pick there. And Matt, for your opening argument, when you're ready, if you've got one picked out.
I do have one picked out, and he actually mentioned it. The one I'm going to pick, because it comes up to mind mostly in the story and how grand it is and how successful they tell it, is Kubo and the Two Strings.
All right. Any other opening argument, Matt? Go ahead for your opening if you got it.
Wait, sorry, Madeeh?
I just have a question. Am I allowed to like Google facts of this since I had no time to prepare? I don't want to like say something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way,
sweet.
I'll be also fact checking if you try to throw something out. So,
Okay, so I didn't want to like say
say
something and like.
Yeah, of course. So we're gonna go into the open forum. If you guys are both ready for that, we're gonna put 5 minutes on the clock. You guys are gonna yell and scream and shout over each other whenever you are ready. When the first person starts talking, I will start the clock.
Man, Kubo I loved, but I just don't think it holds a candle to Coraline. I think Coraline did something for this, not only just like the stop motion genre, but the animated genre in general. I don't think we've ever seen a movie that was meant for kids that scared the shit out of adults. I think this movie brought around a new type of, like, similar to how superheroes are like, oh, this is a spy thriller, but it's also a superhero movie, or like a crime movie, or also a superhero movie. I think this kind of brought in that horror element that we haven't ever seen before, and really like combined that with animation and made it a movie that was fun, not just for like little kids, well, fun or scary for little kids, but also had like grown adults enjoying this movie and seeing that you could still be scary even though you're a children's movie. As much as I love Kubo, I think Kubo kind of falls into the thing where they've gotten big and now they just need to try and keep getting bigger. I think Coraline kind of has that sort of small movie feel, which I love. And I don't think that they've ever really gotten to the point where they've surpassed the level of what Coraline did.
But here's the thing. Yeah, Coraline was good at bringing some scares and stuff, but we're talking what's the best stop-motion animated movie, and Kubo and the Two Strings is the best told story in stop-motion animation for sure. You have a beautiful story with Kubo. He meets Matthew McConaughey's character and Charlize Theron's a giant monkey and a beetle guy or whatever. And it's a beautiful story, and there's a wonderful twist in there that's going to be very heartwarming for everybody watching it. The way they use the animation in that movie, too, is just mesmerizing. It's unlike anything you've ever seen in stop-motion animated movies. The score is fantastic in the movie, and all the acting all around is fantastic.
Well, okay, yeah, the acting was ridiculous in both of these. No one's taken away from what Kubo did, but I think when you have a movie that was like had that star power that Kubo did, like having Charlize Theron, having whichever Mara sister it was, I can't remember, man. It's been a while. Also, I might be high right now. Who knows? And Charlize Theron, all the other cast that they have in that movie, I think when you look at Coraline, it really creates like a great movie with not necessarily a lesser cast, but like a lesser known cast. Like the only real big name in that movie was Fanning, one of the Fannings. What? Who cares? It's one of the Fannings, and like them creating this kind of like almost separate world within the movie where you were like, oh crap, this is like an intent. Kubo was like a movie that I really enjoyed watching. Coraline was one of the movies I felt like intensity when I was watching it. Like I was watching that movie and I felt the intensity that they were bringing to screen instead of just saying, oh, this is another fun movie to take my younger siblings to or some like kids to. Coraline brought like a sort of intensity that made me actually feel like my heart was racing. I could endure, like I was more a part of the movie than I was with Kubo. Sorry, I'm trying to Google shit like while I'm talking to you, and it's like annoying as hell. I cannot do two things at once, evidently. But like the only other thing.
1 minute.
Oh, great, perfect. The only other thing I really have to say about Kubo is I feel like in terms of the animation style, which you were mentioning, I don't think the animation style is anything surpassing what they did in Coraline. I think in both of them, obviously it's stop motion for both
Oh, I
of them.
think it did for sure. It
Oh,
absolutely
no way in
did.
hell.
As far
No
as
way
the
in hell. I think
atmosphere,
stop motion
the
animation, what they did in both of them was absolutely
and
phenomenal. And when you take into fact that, like, for Kubo, they probably just had, like, a couple, like,
I mean, if you watch the opening scene, it's just mesmerizing with the ocean and everything, and it's a very heartbreaking
100%.
story.
But I don't think that opening scene is anything compared to, like, going down the tunnel behind the door in Coraline. I think Coraline, like, brought it on a different level in terms of the animation style. It was kind of like the first time we'd seen it from them too, and it, like, really showed us these guys are the ones who we can't mess around with. These are the guys who are going to be taking home a shit ton of Oscars that they should have already won by now. But, like, this Coraline is the movie that really started it all and, like, really set the bar really high. Kubo didn't quite hit that level for me, and I don't think that it, like, I don't know if I would say that any movie could get to that level that Coraline did. Coraline has, like, this haunting feature to it that has still gotten people talking about it today. Kubo has less of an impact, I feel like, than Coraline did as well.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't hear many people talking about Coraline at all. I mean, maybe you and your group of friends do, but if you go online and you ask what's your favorite Leica film, you're going to hear Kubo 2 Strings.
And
you might hear
right there. Time right there. So we're going to go into closing arguments. Madeeh, you are up first for your closing.
The time starts when I start talking?
Correct. There's no real time limit on the closing argument. Just keep it tight, keep it concise.
Did he just freeze?
Yes, he is frozen for me. All right, we're going to go to Matt for closing arguments. Matt, whenever you're ready for your closing.
Okay, here's the thing. With Kubo and the 2 Strings, what it does with the stop motion animation is unlike anything Leica has done or any other studio has done. The acting all around is beautifully told. Matthew McConaughey, especially as he plays this heartbreaking type character in the film. The villains in the movie are, like, terrifying too, with, like, the twin ghost people and then Kubo's grandfather, I believe. And then there's also the heartbreaking story with the mom as well. The animation is fantastic. It's a beautifully told story. The score is fantastic. Yeah, Coraline's good, but I mean, other than some of the horror aspects in the movie, it kind of fails compared to a Kubo and 2 Strings and a Box Trolls for sure. Especially since they were limited with the animation. Kubo and the 2 Strings, you could tell, had their they could do whatever they wanted with the animation. And I mean, you have to say something if Travis Knight was plucked from Kubo and brought into, like, a Bumblebee. Which, yeah, it's Transformers, but still, you have to say something for a guy who ran Leica and directed 1 or 2, animated movies and was brought into this big live-action blockbuster film. So, to me, that's why I think Kubo and 2 Strings is the best film in stop-motion animation. So, and Madeeh's gone. Does this mean I win?
Okay. That's all right. So we're just going to wait one quick second for Madeeh to come back.
Yeah, while we do that, in the chat,
Yeah.
I can't believe both of you. These are both not technically stop motion films. The 3D animated films that are animated to look like stop motion. I'm kind of disappointed with your choices.
There's plenty of other options. Obviously, of course, there are movies like Nightmare Before Christmas, Chicken Run. There's James and the Giant Peach.
According to Evan, in the chat, he says Chicken Run is the best Holocaust film.
I will also do just some quick fact checking. I was going to do it at the end of the round, but I'll do it now. You all were talking about the casts of these movies. Dakota Fanning is the one in Coraline, playing the main character of Coraline Jones. And then in Kubo and the 2 Strings, it is Rooney Mara who plays both of the sisters.
Okay. There we go.
So you were on the right track, but we figured it out.
Evan in all caps said second best. Whoops.
And Evan and Chris are going at it in the chat, of course.
Okay.
But I honestly forgot about Chicken Run, but I still like Kubo a little more.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? The best stop motion animated film is King Kong 1933.
Is it stop motion? I
Well,
mean,
it's technically
monster
the
is,
monster is
but,
stop
like-
motion, which you could technically make an argument for. If I was in this, I would have made the argument.
and suddenly there is a call out in the chat between Evan and Brooklyn. It looks like.
Brooklyn and
And,
Brooklyn. Yeah, I want to call that match. I want to judge it so I can make Brooklyn win.
oh yes,
I
Casey
call
also
out.
bring up a good point. Kubo and the Two Strings was nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, but it was also nominated for Best Visual Effects. It did get a visual effects nomination. One of the first fully animated films to get a visual effects nomination.
Well, Madeeh,
Right.
can we? Is Madeeh not coming back?
I hope so.
I really hope
Uh,
so, because this is. There you go, Madeeh.
There we are. Hey.
Sorry, guys, I have
Wait.
no idea what happened.
No,
This is
No,
fine.
it's all right. It's
We
all
just,
right.
I was
Cam
just, I
out,
was
do
just
your
lamenting
question.
on how you guys didn't choose actual stop motion animated films.
Yeah,
But it
Chris
is
is
what it
judging
is.
you hardcore,
Mhm.
but I did accept both answers.
Wait,
Alright.
did we stop
They
motion?
use stop motion. It's just some CGI is used in the background.
Yeah, they were both computer animated films in the style of stop motion, which was close enough for me when judging. I would have accepted those answers. So, Madeeh, for your closing, if you have a quick moment.
Oh, shoot, you guys didn't get my last closing? All right, fair enough.
No, you froze before your closing.
Damn. Sorry, guys.
Just one or two quick sentences. You're all right.
All right, so... Man, that messing me up that we're not actually using stop motion. All right, whatever. Okay, closing argument, I'm going to say this. As good as Kubo and the Two Strings was, it doesn't hold a candle to the original of having Coraline come out and, like, really take the world by storm. It is a lot more iconic. If you ask people about, like, the recent, like, movies that look like they're claymation, that's what the fucking things are. If you ask people about those kind of movies, Coraline's the one that comes up in people's minds because they're like, that is the one that really struck me, and that was the one that really stuck with me. So I'm going to go Coraline over Kubo, the Two Strings, every single day.
Alrighty. So, round one out of the way. That was a good fight. Good question. Honestly, both two great movies, great answers. Both of you had really good openings. Madeeh especially talking about how, there's more grown-up elements. There's more of a small, grounded feel. It really put the studio like a studio on the map. Matt really talking about the story and specifics, which I really, really liked. The one thing I'm going to say here, and the reason I think I'm going to give the point to Madeeh, is I think Madeeh had just a few more points against Kubo. Matt, you had a little bit against Kubo, or Coraline, as far as it's not talked about as much. But that was all I really heard against Madeeh's argument, and I heard a little bit more against Kubo. So I'm going to give that first point to Madeeh. He's going to go up 0-1. There's still plenty of game left, though. We're actually just going to keep moving right away. Hop right into question 2. Matt, you are going to get to go first on this one.
Oh,
This is a really fun question. What is the worst MCU villain to date?
oh.
So there are definitely quite a few correct answers. We're just
There's
going to
a
vamp
ton
for a
of
moment.
correct.
Give you a second.
There's
There are-
one correct answer.
There are a few correct answers to this question, but Matt, you're gonna have your pick of the lot. Who do you think is the worst MCU villain to date?
Okay. There's a lot of horrible villains in the MCU, especially Phase 1, Phase 2. Phase 3 picked up the slack, for sure, especially in the last couple of years. But to me, surprisingly, he's not talked about as much at all. The worst MCU villain, I think, personally, is Whiplash. Whiplash is literally nothing. Yeah, he has cool little weapons I can swing around, but there's no development with him. He's just there. He just wants his bird. He's very boring. There's nothing interesting about him, even in a bad sense. You can't be like, oh, that's so bad, but I kind of like that, or it makes me laugh. So Whiplash is my choice.
Alrighty, Whiplash from Iron Man 2. And Madeeh, what is your pick for the worst MCU villain and your opening argument?
This actually say that he's the worst. Mads Mikkelsen's portrayal as Caecilius was awful.
Ooh.
Matt is quite possibly one of the greatest actors that we have today. And that was the role you gave him? I swear to God, Marvel, if you did not pick it up with like Killmonger and Thanos like you did recently, I would be down there myself whooping y'all ass. Caecilius, talk about a villain with no like backstory or like no development. Literally all he is just like a magical thug who has like a scene in a BDSM movie once in the movie and then chops off someone's head. Like, literally does nothing of importance in the entire movie. Hyping him up as like this crazy villain and does nothing. Absolutely nothing. Watch that movie and tell me one significant thing he did other than talk to Doctor Strange. Oh my god. Don't even get me started. I swear to God.
Alrighty. All right, this is an interesting fight. This isn't where I thought this would go, but we're going Caecilius versus Whiplash. You guys are gonna have 5 minutes on the clock when you start talking. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Listen,
Okay,
make
here's
your
the thing
focus
with Caecilius. At least he has some sort of connection with the entire Strange gang. You know, he started off being on their side. He was good and stuff, and then he went in.
That is 100%.
Whiplash is literally just there to get his bird, and he ruins Iron Man 2. Caecilius, or however you say his name, does not ruin Doctor Strange in any way, shape, or form because Doctor Strange is still a good, watchable movie. Iron Man 2 is a bad movie because of Whiplash. Whiplash ruins that movie.
That movie with or without that guy, man. Sam Rockwell was the best part of that movie, hands down. Sam Rockwell was the only good part of that movie. That movie was so awful that Mickey Rourke... Listen, here's the thing. Mickey Rourke is not a great actor as is. Yes, he had The Wrestler. Nothing else. I have not liked a single thing that Mickey Rourke done. And I expected him to be awful in Iron Man 2. I expected Iron Man 2 to be awful because I was like, this looks like it's going to be stupid, having Mickey Rourke at the front of it. No, like that was expected. The worst, though, is when you have a guy who should have been nominated for an Oscar for The Hunt. Should have been nominated, in my opinion. And you put him in a role where, with all these other A-class actors like Tilda Swinton and Benedict Cumberbatch, Chiwetel Ejiofor, all of these guys, like one of the best casts that we were really excited for, like that movie to come out because of the cast, and then he does nothing. Like he's like somewhat like related to the guys who were like involved in the wizards or the sorcerers, but honestly, he does nothing. He's a pawn. You use one of the greatest actors of our generation as a pawn. That was so disgusting for me. Like, I watched that movie and I got mad, physically mad and unwell that they had decided to use Mads Mikkelsen in such an understated like role.
But at least he's a part of a couple scenes that would bring you a little bit of laughter at least. I mean, Whiplash has nothing. He's just unwatchable at times. Like when Doctor Strange and whatever, or whatever.
Butler trying to give a good performance. Like, no, you're not going to get a good performance from him. You know that. So you kind of go with based on what he can do. Like when you had someone like Robert Redford in Winter Soldier, you knew he was going to bring, and he did. You have a guy like the Blacklist guy doing Ultron. You knew he was going to bring it, and yes, it was not the best performance of his career, but he still gave a hell of a good performance. Mickey Rourke probably gave a decent performance for what Mickey Rourke can do. Mads Mikkelsen didn't even get that chance. He was basically just like swept to the side. I felt more like Mads Mikkelsen was just there because of his name and because he looks scary as shit and because his name sounds kind of different, that it was just like, oh, well, he's here now. Let's do something with it. They didn't use him at all, and I feel like that is what makes the worst.
But he at least he also brings in, actually kind of is part of making the story go on as it goes on with Dormammu or however you say his name. If you didn't have him in there, then where do you go with that? You know, he would have no way of, I guess, coming to Earth. But at least with Whiplash, you take him out, it literally doesn't affect the movie at all. That's why, because of Mickey Rourke being so bad in the movie, it actually hurts the movie. If you would have put in a better actor, or if you actually would have developed the villain a little more, then the movie would actually be watchable and would be pretty good. However, with Mads Mikkelsen, he gives a good performance. He gives a good performance in the
fighting
movie.
Whatever disease he has because he can't figure out the element that his dad, for some reason, discovered 40 years ago and didn't bother to tell anybody. Like, there's so many holes in that movie that like just annoy me when I start thinking about it. That the villain like just falls on the backdrop. I think the fact with that movie, you still had Sam Rockwell being the villain, and not like the same kind of villain that we've seen before, but he's still like a villain in that movie that you can kind of like, all right, you know what? He's okay. In Doctor Strange, who do we have? We had Caecilius, barely, and then we had that weird Benedict Cumberbatch's face capture doing Dormammu at the end, which I thought was kind of dumb, and underuse of that character as well. Like, both of the villains in Doctor Strange were, I felt, just awfully used. Caecilius in the comics is a badass, and having him cast as Matt Mikkelsen at the beginning was a great idea, and then using him like for basically just a pawn, I thought was the worst use of a villain, especially
But
one
he
of
still gives a good performance in the movie, but Mickey Rourke doesn't give a good performance at all.
How can you give a good performance with like 5 lines? I don't think that that's really a thing. Like I think when you have
And
5
time right there. Time right there. Matt, we're going to you first for your closing.
Okay, so Caecilius, that's him. In Doctor Strange, he's the reason that the story actually progresses and continues and goes on to when they get to Dormammu. I don't know. I can't speak well. But he is at least moving the story along, and Mads Mikkelsen gives a good performance as that character in the movie. And there's some pretty cool things with the action involving his character. He's just a serviceable villain. He's not a great villain. He's not an awesome or a bad villain. He's just okay. He's just there. I wouldn't even put him in my bottom 5 MCU villains. But with Whiplash, he's literally there for nothing. And Mickey Rourke gives a horrible performance. He wants his bird. That's all he wants. That's the only reason why he's even there. He's going to work if he gets his bird. He helps build some things for Sam Rockwell. There's literally nothing to that character at all. And you get a bad performance. Yeah, there's not a whole lot with Caecilius, but at least you get a good performance from Mads Mikkelsen. So with the performance from Mickey Rourke in the movie and just how the character was written and, developed, that's why I chose him as the worst villain over some of the more obvious MCU villains.
Alrighty, good closing there from Matt. And Madeeh, when you are ready for your closing.
You're talking about having development in a character, man. None of the characters have development. That's kind of why we're both picking them. At least with Mickey Rourke, you knew he wasn't going to be able to perform. Mads Mikkelsen, I think, was completely underused, and I think that it made him a worse Marvel. The question was, who's the worst Marvel villain? The worst Marvel villain was Mads Mikkelsen's character as Caecilius, because he really didn't do anything. He didn't push the story forward. All he did was like, oh, guess what? She's technically working for that guy. And that was it. Like, that was all that he did. Whiplash, he helped design some armor, at least, and was like somewhat essential to the ending of the movie, I guess. But either way, man, both these movies were just like not pulled forward by their villains, and I think that having like just a paid thug as one villain compared to Mickey Rourke, who was actually kind of behind the scenes in the entire thing. That's the other thing. Mickey Rourke was behind the scenes of the entire like big act in Iron Man 2, whereas Mads Mikkelsen was just like a pawn the entire way. Like the big fight at the end, which I was hoping to see, oh, he's stuck in time, and then Doctor Strange goes and does some like time travel weird stuff. Like that's the climax of the movie. There wasn't any like major altercation between them. It was literally just, oh, Mads Mikkelsen, we'll pay you this boatload of money to be on screen and stand there and do nothing. That's what makes him the worst villain. They did absolutely nothing.
Alrighty, that's time right there. We're going to call that question. This one was a little bit closer than the first one. Both of you definitely had some really good punches against the other person. Madeeh talking about how the movie might have been bad without Mickey Rourke's Whiplash. Matt sort of talking about how at least Caecilius matters in the story and it's still a good performance. It's serviceable. Some honorable mentions, maybe both from the chat here. Zemo, Malekith, Ultron, the Mandarin, Aldrich Killian, Ronan. There's a big list of them. But I think Caecilius is a really interesting pick, but I think Madeeh argued it pretty well. Overall, though, I still think I'm going to give this point to Matt. I think the argument that it literally ruins the movie and makes the movie more unwatchable was stronger than the argument that he's just a pawn and it wasn't as useful as a villain. I think Mads Mikkelsen could have been used better, but I didn't think he ruined the movie as much as Whiplash. So I'm going to give that point to Matt. Matt's going to tie it up 1-1, and we're going to go. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, I have one announcement. So we have 2 donations. One from Cody Newberry for $25 and one from Zadius D. Smith. Zadius and Cody, Thank you guys so much for your generosity. Remember, guys, the link to donate is in the description below. It's for dogs in need. Make sure you check it out. Bada bing, bada boom.
Perfect. Yeah, just echoing what Chris said. Thank you too for donating. Thank you everybody who has donated so far, and we really hope to get more of those rolling in tonight.
Yeah, if it looks like I'm bored as shit, I'm not. I'm just tired. And you know what? It's fine. This is
But
awesome. These guys were amazing. So I see your
It,
comments.
it's all right. It's been a long weekend for Chris, and we thank him for absolutely everything he has done, orchestrating much of these charity streams and being the producer on a lot of these streams and helping organize things behind the scenes. So thank you so much, Chris. I get you're tired. This weekend's almost over, but just echoing what he said, if you can donate, every little bit helps. The CrowdRise link is in the description of this video, so please donate if you can. With that being said, we are going to go into the final main round question. The winner of this question is going to go up 2-1 in the speed round. This one you might have to take a couple seconds to think about because there's lots to choose from. But Madeeh, you're going to be going first. We're going to ask, what is the best movie chase scene? So there's a lot of action movies. There's a lot of different movies that have chase scenes in them. So sort through them in your brain. Take a couple seconds. But just know that Madeeh, we are coming to you first for the best movie chase scene. This question may or may not be inspired by me marathoning a certain franchise that is known for its car chase scenes.
Damn. Okay.
So you have plenty of options to choose from. But yeah, just shout out quick to the people in the chat. We got, Malcolm, Case, Cody, Evan, Star, Drew, Jonathan Peck was in there. There's plenty of people in the chat. So thank you guys for watching along live. And get ready for this next argument. Madeeh, you prepared?
So real quick, does chase scene mean car chase scene or just chase scene in general?
It's a good question. I originally wrote it to be car chase scene, but if you have a good argument for just like a normal chase scene, if you have a good argument, I'll take it.
All right. I don't have a regular chase in mind. I was just making sure that I didn't mess it up.
Yeah, I would accept either.
I'm gonna go with basically the entirety of Mad Max Fury Road. Just because it is kind of in its entirety a full chase scene in essence.
In your main form round specifically, try to focus on one specific scene, but it's like a chase movie pretty much. So try to narrow it down just a little bit if you can.
Yeah, it's not like I could get these answers approved beforehand, obviously.
But, yeah.
No, yeah, I'm gonna go with in specific. I'm gonna go with right, kind of near the beginning after. Like when they're going into the giant sandstorm, essentially.
Sure.
I think, man, there's so many like incredible. That movie is a work of art as is, and honestly, I can go on and on. So I'm gonna wait until the open round to keep talking about it.
Sure. So Mad Max Fury Road, specifically the sandstorm scene, and Matt, do you have one?
This is really challenging. I thought about just having fun and going with that opening chase scene in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, just for fun, But I'm going to make it interesting. I'll go with the final chase scene in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah,
I'll go with that one. There's more to the scene. There's more at stake in that scene. So I am going to go with that.
All right, Mad Max Fury Road versus Mad Max Fury Road. You guys are going to have 5 minutes on the clock. Whenever you are ready, begin speaking.
All right, real quick, can we both agree that this movie was a work of art and George Miller is a fucking genius for what he did on this movie?
I'll agree with you.
Oh my god. Okay, so the reason I'm choosing, in particular, the scene of, like going into the sandstorm, I think what they did with that scene in particular of having Tom Hardy's character of Max like strapped to the front, the front of the car, strapped to the front of the car while everyone else is like trying to get onto the truck or also trying to like almost killing him in essence at the same time. There was so much intensity in that scene, with that extended scene, I guess, to call it. That like I've never like it's one of those moments that you remember watching. Like, and the sandstorm being as like a backdrop to it, it was one of the few moments that they used CGI like fairly extensively in that movie, and it fits perfectly. Like, it's honestly, that movie is a love song to practical effects, but the CGI in that scene just enhanced every single moment. every single frame of that scene was absolutely beautiful. And I think that having the intensity of having Tom Hardy strapped to the front of the car is what pushes it over the edge to me. I thought about the ending scene because I thought, like, oh my god, the scene where the moment where they're like kind of going over and back, like on like Peter Todd or whatever it is. I thought, like, there's so much incredible stuff that happens in that movie, and specifically at the ending as well. But I don't think any of it holds up to the fact that you strapped an A-list star, an Oscar-nominated actor, to the front of a moving vehicle and did all of that. Like that, it's like it blows my mind that they got away with all the stuff that they did. And I think that having so many of the moments at the beginning that they did just pushes the beginning, like the earlier scene, for me over the ending scene.
But yeah, okay, so both these scenes are beautiful. They're beautifully directed. Visuals are fantastic in both. But the reason why I think the end scene is better than the first chase scene with Tom Hardy on the front of the car, even if you wouldn't have chose that, I would have chose the end sequence because there's more at stake. These are people fighting for the freedom, not for just them, but for everybody. They got to go back so they can actually save everybody. There's more at stake in this scene. It's just as beautiful too. The only difference with these scenes really is that sandstorm and Tom Hardy in the front of the car, and then at the end where there's more at stake as far as the story goes and how it's going to end. Because if you don't have that in there at all, if you don't have that scene in there, or at least if you take away the stakes that were in there, then the movie doesn't mean as much in the end.
You know, I mostly agree with you. I think, yeah, the stakes are definitely higher at the end. I think what takes away from the ending scene, though, I don't know what this dude's name is, but he almost, like, every single time I watch this movie, I get upset watching because of this one actor. It's the, like, really roided out dude who, like, picks up the engine and is like, Richter! Like, I don't know what he's yelling, but, like, that, like, you know who I'm talking about, right? The guy who looks like
I know who you're talking about.
That guy at the end, like, holding an engine, like, and just, like, randomly being there, that entire moment of him, like, the fight scenes of one-on-one of him versus Tom Hardy, I thought were well choreographed. But, like, him standing on the top of the car, like, holding the engine, like, above his head, I was like, that's, like, going a little bit too far in my head. Like, I watched that scene and I was like,
there's a guy playing a guitar that lights on fire in the scene, and you have Tom Hardy trapped in your scene with a giant sandstorm. I really don't think, something goes too far.
The Royd guy. I don't know what this guy's name is, and I feel bad. No, I don't. He's the Royd guy to me. I feel like the performance of the Royd guy kind of took away from the ending for me, because he's like just basically this big, dumb Hulk figure that's just like doing shit, and then he dies at the end and no one really cared. Like that whole moment, I was like, this just doesn't mean anything to me. I will say that the emotional attachment to some of the other characters, especially the women on the big rig, and the Nicholas Holt's characters, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, his sacrifice, I thought that definitely added to it, but I feel like it gets taken away from when you have like that big Roid monster just doing, his whole like stupid, I'm this big dumb guy, like watch me flex. Whereas at the beginning, I felt like he's not used, and they don't focus on the characters as much. They're more focusing on the fact that all of these guys are going after Charlize Theron women, and you're wondering kind of why at the beginning. You're like, what is going on here?
And time right there. Time right there. We're going to go into closing arguments. Madeeh, you can pretty much continue because your closing is first, so go ahead when you're ready.
What was I talking about? I think where at the beginning, it's a lot more of like starting off the story and kind of showing you a little bit of who these characters are, not really getting into why yet, but showing you that they're determined to like get out of there. The fact that they're willing to drive into that sand to escape the Immortan Joe, I think that is a lot of character just in that moment where you're like, these guys are willing to go into that instead of stay with this guy. Like that is the little things that they do that's not like in this like script necessarily that shows the character development that really pushed this scene over and didn't bring it down as much like the big Roid guy at the end, like doing his stupid thing.
Alrighty, good closing there by Madeeh. And Matt, when you're ready.
See, I didn't talk as much in the main round, and there's a reason why. I feel like Madeeh was kind of digging a hole for himself and jumping in the hole because he's mentioning things that I feel make the scene better. all around, like Nicholas Holt's sacrifice in that scene. If you don't have that in there, then the scene isn't as meaningful. The action's better in that scene for sure. Yeah, you have Lloyd Mann doing his thing, but that doesn't take away from the scene at all. The movie's supposed to be insane, and that guy was being insane. That's just what the movie was. This scene, compared to the opening scene, has more to do with the movie as far as the stakes go. The action's a lot better in the movie. You have that fist pump moment where Charlize Theron defeats blonde-haired dude, whatever that guy is, the villain, rips off his thing, kills him. That was a fist pump moment. That was a fantastic scene. You take that scene out, or you change the meaning to that scene, you completely change the entire movie, and it might actually make the movie worse than what it is. Like, I love the movie, but it might just be an okay movie if you change the scene a little bit. Yeah, I mean, both scenes are beautifully stunning. I mean, these are almost the same scenes, except my scene compared to his actually has a lot of meaning, and it has the most impact on the story when it comes to the characters all around. His scene's great. If you take it out, it doesn't change the movie at all, but my scene would legit change the movie. So, yeah, I chose the end scene.
All right. Okay, so both good arguments there. I wasn't expecting both people to go with Mad Max. I kind of figured one of you would, but I didn't think both of you would. But still, you both argued that really well. What was that?
French Connection was another one I was thinking of. I was like, that could be that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of Matrix Reloaded comes to mind. Any of the Fast and Furious franchise, Baby Driver. There's tons. But yeah, both of these two pretty good scenes. Let's see. Both of you, I think, had a lot of the same argument. Just the visuals are really good, the action's really good, the direction's really good. Matt, you really didn't talk a lot in the open forum session. But man, I think your closing was really, really, really good. To like literally explaining word for word why you didn't talk and saying how that actually does service the movie more and service your scene more, and it has more to do with the movie itself. If you change your scene, it does change the movie overall. I think I personally like the Sandstorm scene a little bit better, but I think Matt's argument for the stakes and kind of using Madeeh's points against him really helped him in that closing. So I'm going to give that point to Matt. Matt's going to go up 2-1 as we go into the speed round.
I literally had no car chase scene to my head, and he said Mad Max, like, oh, I'll go with the end one. Let's go with that.
You bet. All right.
All right. So, we do have 2 speedrun questions prepared. If Matt wins the first one, the game's going to be over and Matt's going to win. Otherwise, if Madeeh's in a must-win scenario here, if he wins out, he can still win the game. So, for those of you watching along who don't know how a speedrun works, this is how it goes. I ask the question, and both competitors must blurt out their answers as soon as it comes into their mind. Whichever competitor speaks first gets to argue for their answer first and has to argue first. They have to go first. So the competitors are going to get 30 seconds each and then 15-second rebuttals, and just upon that, I will make my judgment call. Any questions from you two guys?
You want to make this interesting, man?
Sure.
I don't know what your financial situation is, but we're doing this for like dogs and shit. Or not. You know what I mean. I'm trying to be respectful, but it's... How about we put a wager on who wins? So whoever wins donates, I don't know, like $50. Loser donates 100. How about that? I don't know if you have the money. I apologize for putting you on the spot.
Right now, I don't have the money. Right now, I don't have the money.
The winner has.
If you give me a week or two, then sure.
All right.
All right, we'll hold you to that behind the scenes.
Right.
For now, we'll hop into the first question here. We're 2-1 right now. Matt is up 2-1. Remember, both of you guys, just blurt out your answer as soon as you get it. This is one where I think there's a lot of correct answers. What is the worst movie starring Will Smith?
Oh, After Earth.
Suicide Squad.
Ooh, After Earth versus Suicide Squad. Madeeh, because you went first, you are going to argue first. Give me 1 second to set up the clock because I have to write quickly during the speed round. Madeeh, when you're ready, you got 30 seconds on the clock.
Are you ready? Like, do you need a second?
I'm good. I got my pen in hand.
All right. After Earth was a piece of shit all the way through. Jaden Smith and Will Smith as a starring role was a good idea, and then you said M. Night Shyamalan when he was in the middle of his slump. After Earth, the entire movie was about fear, and I felt scared for Will Smith after this movie. I didn't know what was going to happen to him. I thought maybe he was going insane. Suicide Squad at least had some fun moments. After Earth did not. Suicide Squad, the moment where Will Smith jumps on top of a car and starts shooting from his wrist guns, I fucking loved it. It was brilliant. I thought Will Smith was like showing me the Will Smith of old. It was amazing. After Earth had nothing redeeming
And
about
time there.
it.
Already got some good points in there, both for and against. Madeeh and Matt, 30 seconds when you're ready.
Okay, here's the thing with After Earth. Yeah, they're both bad movies, but at least you got some cool little action scenes and you get some cool visuals with the animals and everything on there, and you get a cool story built all around. Suicide Squad literally made me want to stop watching DCEU. I vomited after watching that movie. The acting all around is horrible. It's a music video for the first hour. Second hour, they try to have a little bit of fun, but it fails miserably because they're clearly trying to be the MCU, like with Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what they're trying to copy. Will Smith doesn't even care.
Time
He's just
there.
there for paycheck.
All right, sorry, I'm just getting those last few points down. All right, 15-second rebuttals. Madeeh, you are up first. When you are ready.
You said you want to throw up after Suicide Squad. I went into about a depression and I haven't seen the outside light since I saw After Earth. Will Smith is one of my favorite actors of all time, and for him to go down to that level where he's basically just a depressed dad, I thought was disgusting because he didn't do anything. It was Jaden Smith.
Time there. All right, and Matt, 15.
Okay, at least Will Smith gives a really good performance in that scene for what his character is, and there's some cool little world building in that movie, but unfortunately, M. Night Shyamalan doesn't work well. But with Suicide Squad, it shits on the characters. It really, really disappoints the characters. Joker's a joke in the movie.
Time there.
Fuck Jaden Smith.
All right. So.
I apologize.
All right. So that was pretty good argument on both sides. Both of you guys started out very, very, very good. The reason I think I'm going to give this point to Madeeh is I think he gave very specific scenes against Matt's. Well, Matt, you said there's cool action, good story, and world building in After Earth. I didn't get any really specific moments, and I got the wrist guns moment from Madeeh. So I think the specifics of Madeeh's argument got you there. So Madeeh's going to tie it up 2-2 as we go into...
All respect when you said that After Earth had cool moments. Like, I almost flipped my phone over.
Madeeh almost broke everything.
I almost broke everything. I almost, like, oh my god. Oof.
Yeah, it's definitely the worst one. After I heard that, I was like, let's just go Suicide Squad then, I guess. That's the most recent Will Smith movie that I can actually think of.
Shadow Beauty at least had, like, performances in it.
Shout out to, in the chat, generosity from Cody Newberry. He said that had Matt, what was your stipulation, if you won or you lost?
It was both. It was just double.
He would help with he would donate for Matt if you brought down the thing a little bit. So, thank you, Cody. That's an amazing thing to say. Much love.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we have one final question here. This is a bit of an interesting one, a bit of a fun one. You might have to take some time to think about it. But there are a couple options here. This is one of the things I was researching to make sure it was a fair question. But here we go. We are tied up. This is for all of the marbles in honor of Kirk Daisy and the charitable work that we were doing this weekend. What is the best movie dog?
Airbud.
Interesting pick. There are other options here.
Fair.
You said best movie dog?
Best movie dog. Best dog in a movie. All dogs are the best, but in a movie, what is the best dog?
All dog. Amazing. I'm gonna go with Charlie from All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Wow, that's a goodie. I thought one of you were gonna pick Billy Joel from Disney's Oliver and Company, but that's cool.
Oh, that would,
Dodger from All Around
Yeah.
Cover.
Yep, Dodger.
All right, so we are Airbud versus Madeeh. What was the name you used? Sorry. Charlie. That's it. Alrighty. Two honestly great picks. Both of these are fantastic picks. There were a lot of great picks on this one. But Matt, you did answer first, so you're going to have 30 seconds on the clock. When you are ready, begin.
Look, here's the thing. When you compare Airbud and his dog, I mean, if you ask a bunch of kids, they're going to know Airbud more. Airbud actually does a lot more as a character all around. He can play football. He can play basketball. He can play tennis. He can make it love you. He can make a team from another high school just fear him. And he can be lovable at the same time. He is a character that does more than what your dog does. I honestly forgot his name. That's just because he's forgettable in a sense compared to other dogs in the world. As far as movies go. So Airbud, I mean,
and time right there. Alrighty. So Matt got some good points in there. Madeeh for 30 seconds when you're ready.
I'm not actually blind. Surprise. Did you just say Airbud does better and more than Charlie does? Charlie saved Christmas for a lot of little orphan kids. Do you realize how important that is for children? For having a dog save Christmas for them? Airbud plays sports. So does every dog. Name one dog that does not know how to play with a ball. I swear to God, Charlie saved Christmas. I think Charlie is a better dog because of the torment in his heart. He's a better character as a dog than Airbud is. Airbud just hits a ball into a hoop or grabs a touchdown, same as many dogs.
And time right there. Alrighty, 15 seconds left, guys. Make sure you make them count. Matt, you are up first.
Okay, Airbud is a super dog in a sense. He could save Christmas for a bunch of orphans if he want. He could do more than Charlie can in there for sure. He just has more to him. He has more going for him. He can play basketball. He can win championships for you. You need Airbud. He's gonna win. But
Time
Charlie
right there.
cannot.
And Madeeh, you are up.
I think at the end of the day, Airbud is a regular dog that plays sports. Charlie is a dog with heart who tries to help people as best as he can. He's a dog that truly cares. Airbud is a golden retriever that plays, or a Labrador rather, that just helps win sports.
Time there.
Children.
Whew, that was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Oh, that was a tough one. All right. So first off, thank you both for competing today. This was awesome. These points will not affect your regular standings, but this is just an exhibition match for an amazing cause, and I think this really did showcase a lot of what our league has to offer. That was a great job by both of you throughout the match today. Man, both of you guys had very equal first 30 seconds, and I think the last 15 seconds from Madeeh took it for me. I think you were talking about how he has heart, he cares, and he helps. I think you brought up new points. Matt, I think you said he's a super dog. He plays more sports. I think that was a little bit too much reiteration from your first 30 seconds. So as much as Airbud is amazing, and there is no rule that dogs can't play basketball, I think the saving Christmas tormented character that is Charlie took it. Madeeh for the win 3-2. That was an amazing match. I want to see you guys actually face in the normal league under normal circumstances with plenty of time to prepare, because that would be a lot of fun. Any last-minute thoughts? We'll go to Madeeh first on the match, on your performance, on your opponent. What do you think?
Hey, man, this is honestly a lot of fun. I really should try preparing my answers one of these days for these matches, huh? I just want to see what it kind of looks like and feels like, but, I'll get there eventually. Either way, real quick, thank you guys for putting this on, running all this to help those dogs and everything like that. You guys do a lot of good work on the side outside of just doing movie trivia and match stuff like that. So kudos to you guys for setting this up.
Awesome. That's much appreciated. And Matt, some final thoughts here.
Normally I'd be upset that I lost, but I can't be upset. This was for a good event. And look, I mean, yeah, I'm going to have to spend a little more money, but it's going to go to a good cause. My heart will get a little bit bigger because of it. Everybody, please go down to the link below, whether you're watching today or whenever this goes up. Go to the link and just donate. Donate for dogs. And if you can afford it, you can afford the food, do all that stuff, adopt a dog too, because that's nice. Dogs need homes. Doggos are nice.
Absolutely. Doggos are nice. So just to reiterate, that was Madeeh and Matt. This is an amazing match here. My name is Robert Parker. Big thanks. Give all of the love in the chat and in the comments and everything. Please send all of your love to Chris Clark, our amazing producer and big just behind the scenes presence. He is so much appreciated by everybody in all of the leagues. But this was an exhibition match for Movie Battleground, a blind fight. If you guys like the style of a blind fight, let us know, because we might do more of these with the competitors. Have to kind of pull them up on the spot. We just want to see what you guys thought. We figured we'd try something new, a little bit special for a very special event. And to reiterate what Matt said, if you can donate as much as you can, if you are able, every little bit helps. Please, if you can, the CrowdRise link is in the description of this video. Please donate to Red Rover, an amazing charity for dogs in need. Please, if you can, it is so much appreciated. Thank you all for tuning in, and make sure this weekend is not over yet. We are almost done, but not quite. At 10:30 p.m. Eastern, I believe I have that time right, Chris Clark.
Yep.
If I'm incorrect, that is right. All right, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the finale of this amazing weekend of charity events for these amazing dogs in need. We have the finale, which is the debut match of a Full Metal Geek, which is the Geek League we have coming up. This is going to be an awesome match. There's an awesome panel of competitors and hosts. Our first Geek match is happening at 10:30 Eastern tonight in just under an hour, so make sure you tune in for that. With that, I am Robert Parker signing off today for everybody here at Movie Battleground. Thank you for watching, and please donate if you can. Thank you very much.